I have played this game every day since its release. I've spent more than 1,000 hours with 4,300 wins in Pocket. You can assume I've played around 8,000 games, multiple times top 100 as well, and I'll try to give you the best tips and kinda explain the part of the game that's not luck and how you can make the most out of your playtime. I'm gonna start with saying everything I've learned about battles in this game, and after that I'll give you some random tips you might have missed that will give you an overall better experience with this game. Let me start off with my personal experience at Pocket's biggest tournament ever. It's a very interesting story which will tell you why this game is just not all luck. So a couple months ago, Orchide hosted the biggest Pocket TCG tournament ever. It had around 3,000 players if I remember it correctly. So you need to listen to this carefully now. So Darkrai Giratina was very good at that time, and everyone knew a lot of players will be using it. So let's call this a mirror chain. Darkrai Giratina is here at the bottom and I'll explain why. So to counter Darkrai Giratina, a lot of players brought Meowscarada Decidueye deck, one of the best decks at that time. Obviously a better choice, and I was one of the Meowscarada users in that tournament as well, because like I said, if it beats Darktina, which would be very popular, it should have also probably won the tournament, right? A lot of top 32 players were also using the deck, but it didn't win the tournament. It wasn't over yet. Despite assuming that this is the perfect deck to win it all, it didn't win the tournament. This deck, the Meowscarada Decidueye deck, was the best deck for only those people who didn't see the full picture. The people who were 2 steps ahead of everyone, the players, won it. And what do I mean by being 2 steps ahead here? The people who assumed both Meowscarada and Darktina will be popular and used the deck to beat both of them won it. It was at that moment I was like, nah, I should have been more prepared. I should have used the deck that the tournament winner used, and it was the Magnezone, Oricro and Simon deck. Almost cannot lose to Darktina, and Meowscarada could only do 60 damage, and you had Oricro for the Decidueye. So this deck was actually the best deck to use. This was at the top of the mirror chain. You see how interesting it is. There is always a solution if you think hard enough. The people who thought Meowscarada could win were at the middle of this mirror chain that we are calling it. If they thought a step ahead, they could have used the tournament winner's deck. Playing with the deck isn't the skill. You do need some skill, but really choosing the deck is the skill in this game. Using the right deck at the right rank at the right time is the skill, and I hope this story of my experience explains it well. Next really interesting tip that my regular viewers probably will know because I keep talking about it is how to use your cards in correct order. This is very interesting. Majority players don't know it. Hear me carefully. So let's say you have a Pichu in the active spot, 0 benched Mons and a Professor Research and a Pokeball in your hand, and you are using the Pichu Dragonite Sylveon deck. So let's say you desperately need a Dratini here, but this Pokeball might even have an Eevee instead of Dratini. So when you need a Pokemon more than any other card, you need to use Professor Research first and then you will use Pokeball. Let me explain it why this matters so much. So let's say your next 4 cards you were to draw was Rare Candy, Eevee, Lily and Dragonite. So if you used Pokeball first, you would get the Eevee and your Professor Research would give you Rare Candy and Lily, and you wouldn't get the Dratini. But because you used Professor Research first, you got Rare Candy and Eevee, and your Pokeball now will give you the remaining Pokemon, that's Dratini. In the same way, if you have all the Pokemons needed and you need supporter card, you are gonna use Pokeball first and then Professor Research. So just a tiny but very crucial thing that I learned. The next tip is know the deck. What do I mean by it? Now I play a lot of tournaments and in there you can see everyone's deck list and what's actually popular. So because when you play them, you kind of browse your opponent's deck and be like, what do I need to stay aware of? He uses Sabrina or Guzma. So because of that, you kind of know what every deck might have in them. So when I open the game and let's say see a Flareon, I know there is almost 0 probability of the opponents using Cyrus. What I mean is in game you can see your opponent's deck, but in the tournaments, or it doesn't have to be tournaments, you can just be browsing decks at PokemonMeta.com or be watching a YouTube video. You can see what cards the deck will probably have. People sure can use something out of the box, but that just has low chances of happening. So you can kind of memorize or just tell through experience what your opponent has in his deck. You can go to Limitless and see what everyone is using with, let's say, the Flareon deck. No Cyrus at all. 0.07 people using Sabrina, so it probably also won't be there. 0.47 people using Mars, so you can expect Mars like half of the time. You get what I'm trying to say. Don't worry about the cards that won't be in the deck. You won't have to be like, what if my opponent has it? You don't have to be afraid of the card that won't be there if you know what the opponent deck list might look like. Also, let's say your opponent uses a very unexpected card in their deck list and it somehow ends up winning him the game against you. You are not gonna be like, damn, that's a better choice, and like expect the card in all the remaining matches. That is just luck. Even the worst cards get scenarios where they can be the best. Maybe in the next 5 games that card just lost him all the games. You just need to have some patience. So next step, in case you didn't know, I haven't spent a penny on this game, not even the free trial. So for the free players, save up your packs like I am right now. 246 hourglasses. Look at that. I got the best cards, I'll stop. And you should too if you are a free player. So when the next booster packs come, I don't have to play with something that's not meta. Next tip, do not multitask while playing ranked. Obviously, I sometimes do it and it always gives the worst result, and then I just drop the other thing. You'll do a lot of mistakes. Next, play.limitlesstcg.com. I've already talked about it. This is the ultimate tool to kind of be at the top of the meta. This will just give you every data you'll ever need to hit masters or hit top 1000, whatever you will need. The win rates of decks, which deck is being used the most, the counters to every deck, the cards being used in the deck. If you want to get serious about rank and do not use this website, you really should. This is, I think, the most important, or I guess the thing that you really shouldn't miss. So let's say you want to use Flareon. You can see which Flareon deck won a tournament or performed well. You can just copy the deck and that will probably be the best version of the deck. You can be like, man, if I had a Pokemon Center Lady, I would have won it, and then you just remove a rare. No, these players have played tens of matches with it and have tested it. You need to be patient. Don't change the decks too much. It's there for a reason. If you get unlucky, that's not really the deck's fault. You just need to accept it. If you really want to make some changes, see if the other Flareon decks have it. See if it is considered at all or not. So let's say you want a Pokemon Center Lady here, because the 20 combust damage gets you to a low SP and you cannot save your Flareon for a long time. So the question is this deck meant to be defensive? This is a full-on aggressive deck with all the damage boosters that tries to finish the game as fast as possible. You get what I'm trying to say here. There is not a good enough reason to replace the red with a Pokemon Center Lady. Just think about it a bit. You need to be like, if I'm using heal cards, what is it gonna save me from? How will it help me? Rather than just putting the heal card, because why not? Every deck should have one. Also, I don't see people playing cautiously enough against Mars or red card. That is a big mistake. We are not doing that. So let's say you have a Charmander on the active spot and you have a rare Candy Charizard and Professor Research in your hand. There is no reason for you to use Professor Research. If you use Professor Research here, you're just giving your opponents more reason to use Mars, right? And they will Mars or red card you, and then your Professor Research is gone, your Candy is gone, your Charizard is gone, and you're just stuck. You can also reduce the effectiveness of Mars and red card by just putting the mons on bench instead of stacking it in your hand. If you have everything you need to win the game, or even like not everything but let's say 70% of the stuff that will win you the game, and the opponent probably has the Mars, do not stack your hand. It is these little things that takes the game away from you and you don't even realize it. Next tip, use the correct basic mon. There are a lot of options to pick your basic mon from. So let's say you want to use Dratini. I used to use this 60 HP Dratini. This 20 damage literally won't ever save you. And I lost a game because the opponents used a Jaya Aura with Giovanni. I had no idea there was a 70 HP Dratini as well. And even the attack of the 70 SP Dratini is decent. It can help you deal with Oricures at times. So that definitely was the better option. Another example is the 30 damage Charmander. People used to prefer this because in mirror matches, let's say your opponent hits you with 150 and then you hit him with 150 and then you get knocked out. So now your opponent has 30 SP remaining. And if you were to use the 20 damage Charmander thinking that this is better because it does not discard an energy, you'd lose the game. This choice alone could cost you the game. So even stuff like this you need to consider a bit, and it could potentially change the entire game. There are multiple different examples and scenarios of it. If you want a separate video on it, let me know in the comments. This isn't something that you should be taking lightly. Trading, I've seen a lot of people not knowing about it. This is not a sponsor video or something, but you should download the PokeTrade app. Very cool app, very easy to understand. You will get any card you want to trade in like seconds. You need to download it ASAP if you have a hard time trading. Set your wish list, set what cards you have for trade, and then it automatically pairs you with someone eligible. Boom. Also, another thing that I realized pretty late into the game, I know there are a lot of people who play this game as like a collector, and I am kind of a collector myself. So if you go to your settings and change your language and log back in, you will open, let's say you chose Japanese language, so now you are going to be opening Japanese cards, and that is so cool. I keep switching languages after I'm done with most of the English cards and kind of get like the Japanese ones. It's pretty fun to do. I've already talked about saving hourglasses. Also save the Wonder Pick hourglasses for the sneak peek event that lets you pick twice. It appears every month. Only use it outside the event if it's like a really good pack to want to pick from. If you are kind of new to the game, it may look overwhelming, but it gets easy soon. You should do the solo missions and that should give you quite a lot of hourglasses, because there has been so many booster packs released now, and then you can just kind of pick a deck that seems interesting to you and build it by opening the packs or trading. It definitely gets easier by time. And that is pretty much about it. I don't intend to take a lot of time. Hope you learned something new. Subscribe if you liked the video and leave a like.
That's really about it. Yeah.